First of all, I just wanted to thank everybody who watched my first video that I put out there on the 11 things that I think are the most important lessons when it comes to personal finance. That's really the first finance video that I've made, and I just wanted to say thanks for the people who watched it. There's a lot more people who've watched it than I thought, and especially those people who took the time to put a nice comment. So let's get started. My job for today is I'm going to try to tell you guys everything that you need to know about investment accounts in Canada in about 10 minutes. So I wanted to make a short video that explains in very simple terms where you can put your money when you want to start saving for retirement. This is not going to be an exhaustive description of all the options that you have available to you. I want to make this video useful and accurate, but not overwhelming. So we're not going to cover RRSPs, for example, because those are not accounts that you would use to invest for retirement. In Canada, you basically have 5 options: bank accounts, savings accounts, non-registered account investments accounts, RRSPs, and TFSAs. So when it comes to investing for more than a few years, though, it's really only the last 3 that really matter. But we'll go through them all just to make sure that you understand how they work. So the first 2 are easy, and you're probably familiar with them already. You likely already have a bank account. This isn't for investing, but rather for your day-to-day financial needs. You can save money there, but if you're under the impression that your money is earning any significant amount of interest, think again. Rates these days are pretty close to 0. High interest savings accounts are a little bit better. These days interest rates range from 1 to 1.5%. Not much. Often these accounts will have no annual fees, but they aren't very good for day-to-day banking because fees for those kinds of transactions would add up really quickly. Although interest rates in these accounts are generally pretty low, the accounts are very safe and your money is easily accessible. So these accounts can be very good for short-term savings goals, perhaps as an emergency fund or saving for a car. But investment accounts are different. So in Canada they come in 3 main types: non-registered, RRSPs, and TFSAs. The main way they differ from each other is in how they're taxed. So what investment accounts have in common is that you can transfer money into them from any other source and keep your money as a cash balance in the investment account, or invest it in things like stocks, bonds, or some kind of fund. The important thing to understand is that these investment accounts are like baskets where your money is held. I hear people all the time saying that they invested in RRSPs or they invested in TFSAs. If you put your money into an investment account, it'll just actually sit there in cash until you actually invested in some kind of investment product like a stock, a bond, or a mutual fund, or an exchange traded fund like an ETF. Likewise, when any investment within that account basket is sold, the money actually stays in that basket as cash until it's transferred out. So this is really important to understand, especially when it comes to how these accounts are treated at tax time, as you're going to see in a minute. Okay, so let's cover non-registered investment accounts because they're the simplest. In truth, you should probably use RRSPs or TFSAs first, but if you've maxed those out, perhaps because you've come into an inheritance or you sold a house for a profit, you may be in a situation to invest within a non-registered account. So just like RRSPs or TFSAs, you can open these accounts at any bank or online brokerage or wealth management company. You then transfer money into the investment account, usually from a bank account, where it sits until it's invested. Hopefully over time your investments make you more money, and in a non-registered account you'll have to pay tax on those profits. So now let's talk about the most popular type of investment account in Canada, which is RRSPs. RRSP stands for Registered Retirement Savings Plan, and it's really one of the best deals going for Canadian investors for 2 reasons. So first, putting money into an RRSP saves you taxes now. Why? Because putting money into your RRSP counts as a tax deduction. So say you earned $60,000 this year and you put $10,000 into your RRSP. You'll only pay tax on $50,000 for the year. That means the difference between about $14,000 and $11,000 in taxes. And usually this comes out as a tax refund after you filed. Second, the investments you hold within your RRSP can grow tax-free. So remember the non-registered investment account? Returns from those investments had to be reported to the CRA so that they could collect tax on them, but not so in the RRSP. As long as your investment returns stay in that RRSP basket, you pay no taxes on them. Whether you've sold stocks for a profit or collected dividends, you can reinvest that money without paying tax on it. So what's the hitch? Well, when you eventually take money out of the RRSP, you will have to pay income tax on it at the usual rates. You can actually take money out at any time, but the government will force you to start taking money out the year you turn 71. At that point, the RRSP gets converted to something called a RIF, but that's not something that you need to worry about now. So before you get all excited and want to pour half your paycheck into RRSPs, I have one last point. The maximum annual contribution is 18% of your gross income, up to a maximum of $26,000 per year, which increases by the rate of inflation. If you have unused room, it will be carried forward indefinitely. And don't worry, the CRA will keep track of this for you. You just have to look on your notice of assessment, or you can log into your MyCRA account online to see how much room that you have. What are spousal RRSPs? Well, I don't want to get bogged down here, so I'll just touch on this briefly. But if you're in a situation where one partner earns significantly more than the other, opening a spousal RRSP in addition to your individual RRSPs can help minimize taxes in retirement. So in most cases, if you're just getting started, this is something that you can worry about down the road. RRSPs might be the most popular type of investment account in Canada, but the other secret weapon that Canadian investors have is the TFSA, which stands for Tax-Free Savings Account. So TFSAs haven't been around for as long as RRSPs, and they have different characteristics that make them an incredibly powerful sidekick. So if we think about RRSPs as deferring your tax bill into the distant future while growing your money tax-free now, TFSAs still require you to pay income tax now while saving you taxes in the future. So here's how it works. It's pretty simple. You put money into your TFSA basket, say from your bank account. There's no tax deduction now. It's funded with after-tax dollars. So there's no tax refund from TFSA contributions like there is for RRSPs. But again, there are two huge benefits. First, just like the RRSP, while money is in the TFSA basket, you don't pay tax on any of the investment profits. And this might not seem like a big deal now, but it means that over time, your investment returns will grow much faster due to something called compounding. Second, anytime you make a withdrawal from your TFSA, whether you're 30 or 130, that withdrawal is completely tax-free. So currently you're allowed to contribute $5,500 to your TFSA annually, starting at age 18, but this is slowly increasing with inflation. So like the RRSP, this contribution room is cumulative. So if you have never used your TFSA and you turned 18 after the year 2009, as of 2018, you have $57,500 of room just sitting there waiting for you. One thing that's commonly misunderstood about TFSAs is how withdrawals work. So say you're using your TFSA to save for a car and you've maxed out your contributions. In 2018, you take out $20,000 for the car. Can you pay that $20,000 back into your TFSA so that it can continue to grow tax-free? Well, fortunately, the answer is yes, but you have to wait until the following calendar year. The way the government explains this is that any withdrawals from a TFSA are added to your contribution room for the following year. So to put this all together, most of us will have a bank account. And from there you can transfer money into something like a high interest savings account, which is safe but doesn't earn very much in the way of returns and is not very tax efficient. To save for retirement, you're much better off opening an RRSP or a TFSA and transferring money there to grow tax-free until retirement. Which one is better? Well, that kind of depends on your individual circumstances, and this is hotly debated, but suffice it to say for now that if you're saving for retirement, most people are probably going to be better off using their RRSPs, whereas TFSAs can be a little bit more versatile and so might be more appropriate for shorter term financial goals. But the truth is most of us should be taking advantage of both of these kinds of investment accounts. Lastly, if you're a super saver and you have maxed out both your RRSP and your TFSA, then you can still invest money within a non-registered investment account. So unfortunately, the details of these investment accounts can be pretty intimidating at first. Too many people who have savings don't understand how that money is being invested, and for other people this stuff is so intimidating that they don't even start saving in the first place, which is a shame. I hope that this video has shed a little light on the subject so that you guys now understand the fundamentals and can start taking control of your financial future. Thanks.